At this time, we'll call to order the regular meeting of Plan Commission. This is August 28, 2023. Kelly, roll please.
Mayor Boyd.
I'm here.
Citizen Member Bush.
I am here.
Citizen Member Higgins.
Here.
Alderperson P-Rock.
Here.
Alderperson Rash.
I'm confused. Is this the part of the adjournment or how, because the meeting's really going.
Okay, it's more than 2 words. Alderperson Rush, you say something.
I'm here.
Citizen Member Schilling.
Here.
Citizen Member Raymaker.
Here.
Very good. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the June 26, 2023 Plan Commission meeting. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Oh,
Motion by me, seconded by Mark. Any discussion and or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, public comments upon matters not on the agenda. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Plan Commission. At this time, anyone in person or virtually have any public comments upon matters not on the agenda? No? Virtually? Second time, any public comments upon matters not on the agenda? And for the third and final time, any public comments upon matters not on the agenda? Item 4, a public hearing on the proposed project plan and boundary amendment for Tax Increment Financing District Number 11 is scheduled for 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as can be heard. Kelly, you want to read the notice of the public hearing?
Yes, the public hearing notice was published in the Press Times on August 18th.
I can't remember. Recommendation from Plan Commission, from you guys first, right? And then we go to the public. Recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item in front of you tonight is the amendment to Tax Increment District Number 11. This could be as overview or as detailed as you would like. I have all the slides prepared for it. I had the entire project plan in your proposal. But in short, this project plan amendment is for the addition of several parcels to Tax Increment District Number 11. One of which primarily is Walter. They are proposing to do a new building on Matthew Drive on a parcel that we've had available for many, many years, but because it's not in a tax increment district, and where things have been going recently with construction prices increases, it was made necessary to include it as tax increment district number 11 to provide development assistance to them. And the finance and personnel heard from Walter back in April of this year, and city attorney as well as myself have been working on that development agreement over the past few months. The other piece to that one is Wash World had an option on a piece of parcel over the past few years. They exercised that option, attempted to move forward with an expansion plan with their project, but has run into hurdles with construction pricing, interest rate increases, and has not been able to get that project kicked off and started. So as a result, we use this opportunity to also provide some level of assistance to them for the remainder of the tax increment district life to spur that project along, with the remainder of the increment staying within inside of the district. So in this case, we're adding several parcels, but primarily for the reasons of those two. There are 2 others that are involved in the way, but that's just to connect to those parcels as well. There is a prochemical company out there as well on American Boulevard that could also benefit from this, because they do have a large expansion space that could happen in the near future as well. So in short, that's the purpose behind this. So I'll go through just very quickly. Here we are at the Plan Commission public hearing. We've already held the first meeting of the Joint Review Board last week, scheduled for council in the second meeting in September if you elect to recommend approval, and then move forward with the second meeting of the Joint Review Board and Department of Review or Revenue later this year. So TID number 11 is a mixed-use TID. It's our business park properties. It's doing pretty well, and this is an opportunity to help do it even better. So as a result of it, we're proposing this boundary amendment. We also are proposing a project plan amendment as part of this one to, 1, refine costs as it relates to the Southern Bridge project, but also 2, we are about 8 years into the life of this TID, and it's just an opportunity for us to better refine where we are. When you first create a TID, the project plan is meant to be that guide, but as you get further along, some of those project costs become more clear. So as a result, we're using this as an opportunity to update the timelines, update the overall revenues, and move forward with that one. We are proposing to replace the project plan and first boundary amendment, which we did 2 years ago, with this one single document, so we don't have 3 separate documents floating out there. it's a means that a lot of communities do so that you don't have multiple iterations of the same document. So as a result, if recommended for approval by the Plan Commission and by the Common Council, this would be the replacement of the previous boundary agreement or amendment, and the original project plan is with one document to move forward. So we also did update all of the tests that are required. We updated all the financials, all the pro formas. We did all of those updates so that we, again, have them up to date with the most accurate information. So if you can see on my screen, the mouse is sort of lagging, but these three main parcels up here, technically 4 parcels if you include our outlot, that is the trail that's there. And then as you get to the bottom of the screen, there's another highlighted area. Wash World is right here, and so they would be attached to the southern side of the TID district boundary. Okay. We also, as I mentioned, updated all the maps, including the half-mile radius boundary, so that we can, again, incorporate Southern Bridge costs as well as other infrastructure costs. On the screen here in front of you, anything in the blue that you see was a amended cost. Anything in the black, well, these are no change, or I should say, what was the no change? So the original project costs are included. The amendment costs are included here. The other share is included here. That's a requirement in the tax increment financing project plan. The other share is for the Southern Bridge. It would be the counties and other other agency shares. Our share would then be the balance of what we see here. So, in short, the whole project plan, the detailed boundary and project plan is included in the packet, so I can answer any individual questions that you have. So, with that, we made some basic assumptions as we move forward. We looked at mill rate reductions, pretty nominal mill rate reductions as we progress forward. We took a look at our cash flow projections over the remaining life of the district, including several more projects coming online and when they would come online. And then we also took a look at our expenditures. And so I know it's a very detailed chart in front of you. It's also in the packet. But really what it is we're game planning for the Southern Bridge. That's what you see, everything in the blue. We have other development incentives. I know it's very small, but other development incentives are in the purple. In the red, we have another future development incentive. We have a potential stream relocation for one of our parcels to potentially to make that parcel a little bit larger and actually create a better quality stream. And then also just some other potential land purchases and a variety of other sort of, I guess you should say, ancillary project costs. Again, it's all detailed in the project plan. I can answer any questions that you may have. But in short, we're looking to amend the boundary. There is the potential to actually close the TID before its mandatory deadline, because we still, as projected, could pay off all the project costs several years sooner. So we still do have that potential. And we do anticipate extending this TID at least one more year, regardless of when we close it for affordable housing as well, like we plan to do with all of our TIDs moving forward. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the project plan amendment and the update to all the project maps, performance, and everything that else is included in your packet.
Thank you. Before we have questions and comments, we will open the public hearing. So at this time, I declare the public hearing open for the Tax Incremental Finance District number 11. Anyone in person or virtually have any public comments during this time? If so, state your name. For the second time, while the public hearing is open, if anyone has something to state, now is your time. For the third and final time, while the public hearing is open on TID District number 11, the boundary amendment, state your name. I declare the public hearing closed, and now would entertain questions and/or comments from the audience. By the way, we do bring up the Southern Bridge quite often now, and we will moving forward. We do have a general number of the cost that De Pere will pick up. What's that number, Dan?
The general number for
the general
entire
number,
project?
the big number, yeah.
About $26 million.
$26 million. The more we can say this, the better. I know everyone's excited about the Southern Bridge and has for years, yet with this excitement comes a cost. And we anticipate the TIDs can help considerably based on projections. I'm not sure if we want to share that yet or not.
The Finance Committee in September will see my full report.
Okay.
In which
If you want to wait on that, that's fine.
Yep. We'll see my full report, and any committee member who requests the full report of all of our tax increment districts, I will be updating them all now that the state gave us the most recent, I should say the most up-to-date statement of change reports last month. So my annual update, which I did a month prior, will actually be more accurate now that we've had those statement of changes. So I'd like to hold off on that comment
Very good.
until September, when I can finalize all those numbers for the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Good. I just don't mind getting that number out in front, the 26 million. From then on, we'll figure stuff out from there. Questions or comments from anybody regarding the amendment?
I'll just make a
Mark?
comment. At the Joint Review Board, we went into a lot of detail on this, and this is very well done, very thorough. And did get a little bit of an update on the Southern Bridge, but there's more coming on that
Yep.
at a later meeting.
Yep. At the second Joint Review Board meeting, it will also be their annual meeting of the Joint Review Board, in which I will present the same things that I'll be presenting to the Finance and Personnel. And the Joint Review Board has, the membership for Brown County has now been turned over to Cole Runge, who's been leading the Southern Bridge project for, I
So
think,
he's on now, which is
for
a
the
great
start of
thing
his
for our
career,
Joint
pretty
Review
much.
Board.
And
Yeah,
so
we're excited
he
about
will
that.
have an agenda item on that meeting to give the Joint Review Board a update to that one. So if you wish, you can watch that meeting afterwards, or attend that meeting. It will be on
Is it-
October 5th at 9:30 in the morning, but it will be recorded for anybody.
Dean?
So, Dan, just more for my personal knowledge, but when we look at some of these TID redesigns that we're doing and adding properties into it, they've got to connect somehow correctly. So, I mean, the one on Matthews Drive, for example, looks like we put that little lot on the corner there. That's where Walters is probably going to expand to. Is that my guess? And then for Wash World, kind of the same thing, but they were close enough already to where that TID boundary was.
Yep.
But I thought I saw they started breaking ground for Wash World already. They started clearing land. They did. They just haven't.
It's
made
on their
it go-
risk, and we've had a conversation with them. That's on their risk, because I'm bringing it to Finance and Personnel Committee for their development amendment.
Okay.
Their contractor had excavation availability, and so I said it's on your risk to do it. They decided to take that risk.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because you had mentioned they didn't, because costs had changed so much, they hadn't started anything yet, but I did notice just the other day that they had
Yep.
started clearing for that, so.
Like I said, that's their risk. So we'll be presenting the terms to the Finance and Personnel Committee in September.
Okay, because it is nice to see this expansion happening in the,
It's been planned for a while.
in the business
It's
district.
taken
so
some
A
time.
long while, right?
These industrial parks.
I think we went through about 3 different option extensions with them when we first secured an option with them for that parcel.
Okay,
You are correct, Dean. That is correct. And Dan and his department are very, very busy.
yeah.
Very busy, and that's a good thing.
We've only waited since 1967 for this Southern Bridge thing.
Oh, the Southern Bridge, yeah, we'll get past that one, so.
How much was that again? 26 million?
Well, the overall cost? No.
No, our portion.
Yeah, we'll keep saying that, right? Yeah.
It'll feel nicer later on after you say it enough. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I just want that to soak in. Other questions or comments?
This is just administrative. On the packet, the page 4A, packet page 14, Common Council still shows Kelly Rue.
Oh, you're right. That's
Yeah.
a holdover. Thank you for that correction.
Yep.
Well done. Other questions, comments, and/or corrections? Thank you. I would make a motion to approve the boundary amendment for tax increment district number 11. We'll need that motion for a resolution, correct?
That will be the resolution. The motion should actually be boundary amendment number 2, project plan amendment number 1.
Do you have that, Kelly? I'm making a motion for boundary amendment number 2,
Yes.
project plan number 1, as it says in letter A.
I'll second that.
Motion by me, seconded by Dean. Is that correct then, Dan? Just as it states? Okay.
Yep. The resolution is in your packet as well as drafted.
Yep, I see it right there. Any other additional questions and/or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, consideration and possible action for an extraterritorial 2-lot certified survey map at 2851 American Boulevard in Lawrence, Parcel L-2191. Peter.
Thank you. This is the first of 4 land divisions that we'll be talking about tonight. This one is a 2-lot land division on an extension of American Boulevard. And the proposed uses are for business and light industrial use. Plan Commission planning staff recommends approval, subject to the 2 conditions that you see in your report.
Thank you. Questions or comments based on what you see? I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Brenda. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, consideration and possible action for an extraterritorial 3-lot certified survey map at 2854 American Boulevard in Lawrence, Parcel L-2186.
Thank you. If you notice, the map really didn't change very much. The little red square just jumped across the street.
Same, doesn't it?
We now are looking at a 3-lot land division for business and industrial uses. Planning staff recommends approval of this land division, subject to the 2 conditions you see in your report.
Very good. Thank you. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to approve. I'm kind of on a roll right now, so.
I'll second.
All right, motion by me, seconded by Shane. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, consideration and possible action on a 35-lot and 2-lot outlot extraterritorial preliminary plat of Little Rapids Subdivision at 2700 block Lawrence Drive in Lawrence, Parcel L-2184.
Okay, thank
Peter.
you. This is a residential subdivision that is being proposed by the town and developed by the town of Lawrence. It has 37 residential lots and 2 outlots. As you can see, it looks like the very same map again. We're just coasting a little bit further to the west from where we were just reviewing. Planning staff recommends approval of this plat, subject to the 2 conditions that you see in your report.
Very good. Thank you. Questions or comments on this one, item 7?
I'll move to approve.
There you go.
Second.
Motion by Brenda, seconded by Devin. Any questions or comments? That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, consideration and possible action on a 21-lot and 2 outlot extraterritorial final plat of Lawrence Parkway First Addition at 2200-2300 Little Rapids Road in Lawrence, Parcel L-458-6, L-2118, L-2117, L-2116, L-2115, L-2114, L-458, L-456, L-456-2, and L-457-3, Peter.
Thank you for getting through those numbers.
Huh.
This plat has 15 residential lots, which are a little bit more on the east end of this proposed subdivision. And there are 6 agricultural lots along with 2 outlots being proposed in this land division. As you can see on the map that I put up on the right side of the screen, it does appear to have a little bit of a jog in it because it is on 2 different pages and I pasted it together, so notice that it does look a little bit wonky. The planning staff completed this review. This is actually a final plat, so you did review this several months ago, and we find no reason for concern at the staff level, and we recommend approval subject to the 1 condition you find in your report.
Thank you. Questions or comments? A lot going on. I'd make a motion to approve this as well.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Mark. Any discussion or comments? I know we've seen this before. Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, consideration and possible action to reaffirm the street name Scotchwood Road and the street name Hardwoods Court as formal names for 2 streets in the city of De Pere, Peter.
Okay. This one is going to need a little bit of explanation if you didn't see the memo that came with it. Back in 1996 and 97, there were 2 subdivision plats that were proposed in this area. One was a original plat, and then the other was the first edition plat. Unfortunately, the developer used 2 different sets of names on each plat, and we cannot use subdivision plats to change or update a street name. So we are left with a since 1997 situation where we have 2 streets with 4 names. And this reaffirming action is proposing to pick the second of the sets of names because after we did research, we identified that is what the public is using, that is what shows up on their tax bills, and that is what shows up on our street signs. So most people are probably not even aware that this is happening, with the exception of Brown County, who is identifying it's causing mapping problems. So we recommend approval of this request, subject to the recommendations that you see in your report.
Very good. It's good to know no one's harmed by this, so we don't want that, though it might be close to your district, Dean. Questions or comments?
Just on the memo from Peter, there's an asterisk in the subject line at the end. Does that relate to something?
The asterisk is a identifier that this is something that needs to be reviewed by Common Council.
Oh,
When you see the asterisk in the regarding line, you'll usually see the yellow stripe on the first page of any PowerPoints.
Thank you.
other questions or comments?
I'll move to approve that.
I'll second it.
Motion by Devin, seconded by Grant to reaffirm the street names. Any questions or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, consideration and possible action for a new 12-foot wide public utility easement at 1900 Venture Avenue, Parcel WD-D0079-A. Peter.
Thank you. This is a mapping situation that was identified where there's a small piece of city-owned land where we have a railroad spur, and there is no utility easement that goes across that section in order for utility users to be able to utilize an easement connection following along this road. So staff has proposed the placement of a 12-foot utility easement to complete the line following along Venture Avenue. We recommend approval of this request.
Thank you. Seems to make much sense. Questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Dean, seconded by Brenda. No comments or discussions? So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 11, consideration and possible action to approve a $4,900 proposal from Duncan Associates to incorporate year 2023 quarterly zoning ordinance updates into the zoning ordinance. Peter.
Thank you. Pardon me. As many of you are aware, about every 3 months or so, we review updates to the new zoning code that we approved at the beginning of this year. We are in the process of acquiring the software to make these updates on our own, and that is part of the development services budget for 2024. In the meantime, we have a zoning ordinance with 3 appendixes of edits and changes, and we would like to go ahead and make those changes right away because people are starting to become confused by utilizing 3 documents. And Duncan Associates is actually the consultant that wrote our original zoning ordinance with us, has offered to help us complete that task for a $4,900 quote. So planning staff recommends approval of establishing an agreement with Duncan Associates to help us update our zoning code until we can get our software in place.
Very good. Makes a ton of sense. Questions or comments? Marge, you have a question? No? I'd make a motion to approve,
Mayor?
Dan.
Oh, just one more thing.
I'm not approving you, I'm just
No.
recognizing you.
As just a reminder, that's also for the third quarter changes, as also fourth quarter changes in the memo. But I'd like you to, if you do recommend approval, to either make a motion to approve to either establish a new contract or amend the original contract, subject to city attorney recommendations. It could go either way, but let Tony kind of decide what.
Okay, based on what Dan said regarding which direction we go, and pending approval by, or a recommendation by Tony, that's what we're going to do. Do you have that down?
Yes.
Very good. I made the original motion. Who
I'll
wants to
second.
second that? Seconded by Mark. You called all that, correct?
No, absolutely.
Good for you. If you have any questions, just contact. He's just right in the office tomorrow.
No,
She knows where my office is.
that's good anticipation.
Any questions or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 12, consideration and possible action to award a contract for 2023 Comprehensive Housing Study and Action Plan to, I think I'm saying it's Camoin Associates. Camoin?
Yes.
Peter?
Thank you. This is a proposal where a couple of months ago, we sent out an RFP that you had reviewed to complete a housing study and action plan for the city and development services. We sent that RFP request out. 5 responses were received. Of those, we were comfortable with 3 of those responses. And between myself, Dan, and our city administrator, we identified which we felt was the best candidate, and that was Camoin Associates. I have reached out to them to see if they are interested, and they are. This is the formal action to prepare the award and contract for them to complete this task for $49,500. Planning staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you. This is a very important housing study that we do need info on. Questions or comments? Seeing there, oh, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Shane. The whole meeting was just about scuttled. We had to start over. Any questions or comments now that we have a motion and a second? Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 13, discussion about site plans received since the June 2023 Plan Commission meeting and review of the status of recently approved development projects. Peter.
We're excited to let you know that although we promised it a little bit earlier in the year, we now have an online version of reviewing your site plans. So the packet that I put into your, or the information that I put into your meeting packet is actually from about a week or 2 ago. We now can actually look on the screen and you can actually do this at home at any time, do a review of what site plans are going on in progress. And let's see if it actually works.
It does. I just clicked it.
Did you just do it? And?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
working?
there, Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
So what the public is directed to do now, and our developers, is they just go to our main page. They, it's,
You gotta stop sharing that one and share the other one.
yeah, look at that. It didn't do what I wanted it to.
This is great.
I'm gonna do what Brenda's doing right now. We're gonna crash this whole system by going.
Yeah.
through this, but- Oh, well.
There we go. So, yeah, so now what the public is capable of doing is going to our front page, clicking on, no, I'm not looking at the right thing now.
On what?
Yeah, hold on a second.
On Welcome to De Pere from Mayor Boyd. If you go a little further down, we can do that. That would be fun.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this. What did that do for us all? There we go. So, yep.
It's going slow.
Yeah, for some reason it's kind of bogged down and slowing. So the public can now go to the front City of De Pere website, which is where we are right now. At the bottom, they can see just as I highlighted a projects button.
Projects.
They click on that. They're then given choices of 3 categories of projects, and there's a site plan projects right in the middle that they pick. And it then takes them to the new website project where there is a map included, where there's a teardrop tab of every single project. You can actually click on that project and get information. So I'm going to click on the Nelson Pavilion at Voyager Park. It's a project that's currently on hold, and that's why you see the teardrop is red. Identifies its address and the status of where the project is at. It's currently in the process of being either on hold or being revised. If I click on one where it's A for approved, it will tell you that it's been recently approved. For people who don't like the maps as much, we have a list of projects which identifies everything in a category of whether it's under a staff review, is it being revised, or has it been approved, and even if it's been fully completed, it sits on this list. The fully completed means the construction is done, we've issued occupancy permits, and we're basically done at the staff level. Projects will sit in this area for about 2 months, and then it will drop off of the chart. Anything that's in construction or in the process of being reviewed or approved will stay on this chart indefinitely until either the project comes to a conclusion or something else happens. And then very similar to what you had on your sheets earlier, we've recreated kind of a table for each type of a project that gives you a description of the project, and then with a green highlighted bar, the status of where it is at from the point of submittal to going all the way to the right to the point of a project being completed. It is hyperlinked, so if somebody just sees the name of the project that they want on the list, they can click on it, and the screen will instantly take them to that project where they can see who the authorized representatives are, the property address, and they can even click, and I hope that this works for us, here to get additional information and actually a copy of the site plan. So here's their contact person's information for this particular project. They can scroll down, get a copy of any approval letters that I have mailed to them, and then get copies of the actual site plan itself. So this is the new version of what we will be sharing with you every month rather than giving you a 5 or 6 page sheet of documents.
I like it. When does a project drop off? Because I see 3 are completed.
My plan for that is, let me just see if
Because that's kind of an exciting
I can just
time.
kind of
Do
jump
some kind of
backwards
ceremony.
to that.
I see 3 of them.
Yeah. My plan there is once it goes to the project is complete phase, it will stay there for 2 months.
Oh.
And then we will let it drop off.
Very good.
That way, you should see it, unless we have a canceled plan commission meeting, you should see it on that list at least twice before it drops away.
Very good. It's a great idea.
Is there a spot where it lists all of the projects that were completed in a given year?
Oh,
This is only, I guess you would say, over the past, what do you say, about maybe 8-9 months worth of projects right now. To go back in time and upload all those things is a element that would take a challenge. And the reason why we didn't do that is because prior to January 1 of this year, the Plan Commission minutes are the archive for all site plans. The reason why this was brought forward and was a challenge, for a challenge for staff was because the new zoning code brought site plan approvals in-house to staff level. We wanted to provide greater transparency to the Plan Commission and to the general public because you can now no longer find them in the Plan Commission meeting minutes. We've now made it even easier for the general public to find information out, and so that's our intended purpose. We will have the ones that are completed into an archive spot, so in case somebody wants to go back later, but it just won't be on this map. Otherwise, over time, that map would get so unruly, it'd be really hard to find. So, but we will have an archive spot eventually, kind of like at the end of every year, we'll just make the previous years in archived.
but I do see, it does say projects that are recently completed and approved and completed is
Yep.
part of the,
Yep.
so that'll stick probably through 23. You'll
Yeah.
see something there.
We'll try to, like I said, Peter's goal is to kind of pull them off after 2 months. It all depends on how many site plans we get. If we get a big rash of site plans that come in, that map gets, like I said, a little unruly. You really can't click on things because there's overlapping bubbles. So we'll try to kind of manage that as we go. But as we mentioned, there will be an archive spot for all approved plans.
Very good. Does that answer, Mark?
Right, it just, over the last several years, we've had some phenomenal years of
Yep.
of project growth. It's been kind of fun to be able to see that trend over time.
Showcase it.
Yeah.
You guys really do think of everything, so good job.
This is really great.
Yeah, well
it.
done.
Absolutely.
Other questions and/or comment? Literally, this is stuff we've been looking for, so it's just so much cleaner and so easy. It's very easy for us to navigate and find stuff out.
Peter
Anything else you
worked. Peter
wanna
worked
add?
hard. Peter and Andy and Kristen in our GIS department worked hard to get this up and going and make it functional. It's gone through several iterations through that time to make sure that we also, this website, you don't think it's easy to create, but it's also has to be ADA accessible when it comes to reading on phones and stuff like that. So I applaud our staff for not only doing it the way that we think it needs to be done, but rechecking and making sure that it meets ADA accessibility requirements as well and finding a solution that works for everybody. So I applaud our staff's effort and time to kind of push this forward. I know I've been hounding them to get it done, so I appreciate their time and effort. So thank you, Peter.
Outstanding. By the way, if there's ever a chance, you don't have to do this, but we mention people's names every now and then, GIS, some of these people, if they want to come in and just kind of wave to the Plan Commission. Because we do mention their names, and they're pretty invaluable. Planning Department is a big deal. So if you want to think about that, I'm not charging you anything, but it is, I think it'd be nice for these guys to see see names and faces.
Are these one of the nights that you bring in the snacks?
It'll be a night that I will bring in snacks.
Scallops and,
Not scallops and not steak, but it could be a Cerrugi's bar, small meltaways, stuff that I already at home that I've already half
I
eaten.
think we should take a vote on this.
I would just like to say, you guys did a great job. So, I mean, that's a lot of time and effort that goes into that.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's a weekly effort because Peter does make this list update almost weekly, if not bi-weekly at a minimum. So I do appreciate, it's one thing to put it up there once, but the challenge is making sure it's updated. We all see projects that go by the wayside because of data entry, and this is one that we need to make sure that we keep up on it, and Peter's done that.
Yeah, it's far better information than we've ever had before. Easier to access.
Totally agree. And probably, I mean, we have very important departments, don't get me wrong, but development services, what we've been going through in the last couple of years, it's just been outstanding. So kudos to all. Thank you. Anything else we have to add? Anything that you guys like to add? All good? Okay. I gotta get out of this little map thing here. Oh, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Dean. All those in favor for adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We're officially adjourned.